Today we're just talking about Spiral, the latest movie in the Saw franchise.
Yes, the 9th installments of the series.
So talking about beating a dead horse, but nah.
But actually making it more alive.
Yeah, I actually love the Saw franchise. It's probably actually my favourite horror franchise. I think the first two are actually good movies, and then the rest of them are pretty much just guilty pleasures.
Yeah, if you're like a bit of a freak.
If you're
like if you're a sicko.
Maybe, sicko mode.
Yeah.
But I think they're, kind of like guilty pleasures, just everything after two is the biggest convoluted mess that you could ever see, and just nothing really makes sense, and it's just kind of like, I enjoy the journey, but every time at the end I'm always just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And but I still just really enjoy them anyway. They're just entertaining movies to watch, I reckon. And I was actually looking forward quite a bit to Spiral because we had Chris Rock, Samuel L. Jackson. The first time kind of since the first movie we've actually had well-known actors in the franchise.
Yeah.
And
Chris, pretty big names as well.
And it was actually pretty good to see, for the first time in a while, an actual protagonist
that we care about,
who you care about, and is actually given character development in this movie.
We'll give spoiler warning. This movie warning just came out.
Literally came out today, but you just can't even talk about a Saw movie without spoiling shit because
it's convoluted.
It's always like twists and turns and twisted pictures. But yeah, anyway, this movie's about Chris Rock. He's kind of hated by his whole precinct because they're all, I guess, scumbags, and he threw one of them under the bus for actually murdering an innocent civilian. Yep. So he's pretty much... He
broke code, though.
He's one of the only good cops. The rest of them are pretty dirty, and, he's just trying to actually do the right thing like the rest of them.
Yeah. But it's good. He actually does get proper development. We get kind of like a backstory throughout the movie. Like, with most Saw movies...
It's always flashbacks and shit.
Yeah, but I feel like you find out the majority at the end of the movie. Yeah. Whereas this was like spaced out.
Yeah, which is
good.
What I actually liked, and I did really, the relationship between him and his partner, I thought actually was quite entertaining to actually see those two on screen interacting back and forth and just
the growth between
just having
them.
like normal conversations and amongst the madness as well.
Yeah.
And it made it a lot more relatable, I thought, where he was talking about how there's going, it was kind of like cliche character development, like a cop who's mad at everything,
like opposite ends of the spectrum, like one's the end of his career, has gone through the whole thing,
and going through a divorce, just like all the classic kind of shit that is it's in a lot of movies. But I thought they used comedy to make it work quite well here, and I thought Chris Rock,
obviously he's going to make some stuff funny.
Yeah, and this might be the first movie I've ever seen, surely not ever, but when he was actually portraying like a real dramatic role.
Yeah.
Obviously known for his comedies.
Grown Ups.
Madagascar. That's just hear Marty's voice every time he speaks.
Yeah, it is very true.
But anyway, this was directed by Darren Lynn, how the fuck do you say his last name? Bozeman, who's directed multiple of the last ones. I can't remember the exact ones off the top of my head. Might have been 6, 7, fucking 25.
Looks like a scumbag.
But anyway, he's obviously got the experience with the franchise, which I think...
So what's that, 2, 4, and Spiral.
Do you not direct the later ones? Go to the filmography. Director.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4,
right,
and now Spiral from the Book of Saw.
I thought he actually directed some of the later ones as well. But anyway, I actually thought the direction of this movie was pretty good, and I did actually kind of have low standards just going in because I'd heard some of the reviews weren't that positive, and like I said, the last few Saw movies aren't that good. And Jigsaw, that came out, I think it came out a few years ago, maybe 2017. It was my least favourite of all of them, just because
it was average.
The original series, it kind of has like this cheapness to it that works in its favour, so you don't take it 100% seriously when it's being just absolutely dumb and when nothing makes sense. But then Jigsaw had a high budget and was just doing the same shit over again, and I was like, I really just didn't like that movie at all.
Yeah. To be fair, I didn't even know what this movie was about until we were in the cinema.
Didn't know it was a Saw?
No. I literally thought it was like a buddy cop action movie.
It was quite different than what I thought it was going to be. I think you thought it was going to be like
type thing.
It's going to be like a buddy cop with Samuel and Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that they were actually father and son until
Yeah,
this movie.
until we found out.
But yeah, so as Jigsaw copycat, they believe, is back again, and Chris Rock's going after him, and this new Jigsaw is killing off all the
dirty cops
in the precinct, and some of them are close to Chris Rock, but some of them have fucked him over in the past because of
him breaking code,
him turning against them and actually doing the right thing.
He was the chosen one.
And so yeah, along the way, obviously we get the Saw shit that if you're a fan of the franchise, you'll probably enjoy watching people getting tortured and murdered, brutally and explicitly. And I thought some of the traps in this movie actually stood out quite a lot compared to some of the ones previously.
They were sick.
As being good and actually rememberable.
Before we get into that, I want to touch on the opening scene of the movie and just how lit it was. So we open in like a hotel room with fucking Chris Rock.
I think you're talking about the scene.
So it wasn't technically the opening, but it was one of the opening scenes, and it's pretty much just Chris Rock doing a monologue in a hotel room with Buddy. I think it was like Migos. I think. No. Maybe. It sounded like Migos.
Oh, the song?
Yeah.
It sounded like Quavo definitely at one point.
At the end credits sounded like 21 Savage.
Yeah, that song's called Spiral. I remember it came out like last week.
There you go.
21.
But yeah, and it was just really fun. And bank robber stuff. And that's how you kind of learn that it's kind of like a plot twist at the start, because you think he's a dirty cop.
I mean, if you've seen the trailer, you know that he's actually good.
Yeah, but it was quite cool. It was quite fun.
Because he's undercover catching these bank robbers or whatever. And I think all the cops are like calling him snitches again, because he's always just,
doing his own thing. But yeah, I thought that was quite cool.
Yeah, and the soundtrack to this movie was just full of actual trap bangers just through the whole movie.
No pun intended.
Which actually went pretty hard in the cinema, right?
Yeah, it actually did.
And I actually really like that shit.
Sound is obviously a big part of the Saw series.
The jump scares.
You've got your big, scary shit.
It's the pig squeal whenever there's a jump scare.
Even it's not a physical jump. It literally is just the sound that makes you go.
Yeah. So this does kind of follow the same formula as other Saw movies, where it's people getting abducted by the pig mask over and over throughout the movie. This time they're cops, and so it turns out at the end, I'm just going to go to it, and then we can just move our way back and forward. That his partner, the rookie that's just been assigned to him, is actually the new Jigsaw killer, and he's killing all the dirty cops because one of them back in the day murdered his dad because he saw one of the cops doing something illegally or something. So another cop killed him to, keep it quiet or whatever, and then so he spent his whole life wanting to get revenge against all the dirty cops and everything. And
they kind of drop hints at it throughout the movie. Like, one of the opening things that he says is, your dad was the reason I wanted to get into this or do this. Like, I've been waiting for this since I was 12 years old.
And you think he's talking about becoming a cop, but then at the end it shows obviously that committing all the murders and shit. And so about probably halfway through the movie, you think he's been killed off by the new Jigsaw, but then it's
but they never show his death scene, which kind of gives it away.
Yeah, and it's a plot twist at the end, like every single Saw movie has, with the music playing, where it shows that someone who's been in the movie the whole time is actually the killer, which I expected going on that to be the ending.
Yeah,
not necessarily him, but you know that someone who's part of the main cast is always going to end up the killer at the end.
There were 3 options. It was him, Samuel Jackson, and the guy that originally gets given the lead for the case.
Yeah, I was thinking he was actually
like the scene where they walked out of the evidence room or the cold case, and he was just like standing in the background.
Yeah, I was thinking then as well that he was sketchy. Nothing ended up happening to him though.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was going to be
maybe he was a good cop.
I don't know, but I was thinking it was going to be the girl who was running the cops,
the constable or the chief,
whatever the fuck she is, because just the voice on the Jigsaw tapes didn't sound like a dude, really.
Yeah, that's fair. No judging. It's 2021.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's been killing all the cops and everything and putting them through the traps whole movie, and then he wants Chris Rock to kind of team up with him at the end
and just find out who the bad cops are, and
continue it along with him and keep killing off the bad cops, because
Chris Rock was kind of treated unfairly. Like, he went through all this shit when he was literally like the good guy.
That is what it is always like though. From Jigsaw's perspective, he thinks, that it's all fair what he's doing, but he's just a psycho and actually putting people through absolute shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it was good.
Yeah. I actually, this probably might be my second favourite after the first one actually. Because the other ones, like I said, I don't really consider them that good movies. I actually thought this movie was really entertaining.
Yeah.
And as a fan of the franchise, I'm obviously probably going to like it more. But it wasn't exactly the same just with... It wasn't like fully... There were a lot of traps in it, but it wasn't that... There was more of an actual story.
The traps are actually like gruesome and like... They're memorable.
Yeah, they
which I think is like a thing that... Like when you think of Saw, you think of like the reverse bear trap type stuff. Like... And coming out of this movie, like you do, there's not a trap that I don't remember.
Exactly, the ones in this movie,
and they give them like points, like they give a reason. Like the first one, he gets his tongue ripped out because he used his tongue to lie in court. Someone gets their fingers ripped off because he used it to pull a trigger. Like he didn't watch out for the he didn't watch the neck of the community, so he cut it off.
And you did kind of feel like they could. You knew they wouldn't, but you did kind of feel like they could maybe actually escape this time. Like, and a lot of the other ones, you're like, oh yeah, there's no way. You're just waiting for them to die. And I thought this time, I didn't really, but you know.
The only thing was that they did escape and then they died right after.
Yeah.
Like the one, what was his name? Like Finch or something?
The fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
and
his fingers.
Electrocuted.
The trap was pretty much you rip your fingers off and then you get out. Like otherwise, water's gonna hit copper and you're gonna fry.
Yeah.
And then he rips his fingers off, but then.
Just at the last second, and then he gets electrocuted. I thought the one with the glass near the end was real good.
Yeah, that was funny.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Octavius' wife getting fucking brutalised.
Yeah,
I really liked that one. But the one that stood out to me the most was definitely the one where...
The wax.
The chief captain lady was
Angie.
Trapped down, getting hot wax poured onto her face, and the only way to escape, she had to, like, sever her spine with a blade.
Yeah, she was fucked either way.
Then how's she even going to move out of the way?
I don't know, I guess... Yeah. She would have died either way. Would have been cool if it was like hot tar rather than hot wax. It would have made it so much more brutal.
Yeah, I was thinking you'd see her face more actually burned down to like a skeleton.
Yeah, like...
Instead of just, he kind of peels her and her face is just burnt and he starts making out with her.
And then he just starts beating the fuck out of her chest.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Had her in the crucifix and hitting with the fucking elbows. Body. I was just, but no, this movie was good.
Yeah. A lot of the comedy, because there was, I think, a bit more comedy, especially with Chris Rock. But then at the same time, he actually, I kind of loved his descent into madness as well throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it gave him a lot to actually do as an actor when he's literally, because all these people around him are just getting murdered that he knows, and he's losing his mind.
Yeah. And I felt like, I mean, I did say when we were walking back here, I was like, oh, the cinematography, like the shaky cam. But I felt like it got more progressive with his like spiral into madness.
Yeah, that's actually a good point as well. It got more and more like that as he was getting driven insane by having to work on this case.
Yeah.
When they showed the reveal at the end, when it turned out to be his partner, I audibly said, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" But because you knew
even when he first came on the screen, you fucking said that.
Yeah, because I knew it was coming, but at the same time, every other Saw movie, it's just. It's so just fucking convoluted and nothing actually makes sense. Like at the end when they show all the flashbacks and everything to how they're connected, it's always just the dumbest shit ever.
That was one thing I was thinking just before I was going to say it, but I feel like you in this movie you could have like not even have related it back to John Dodson or Kramer, whatever his name is.
John Dodson.
That was what I thought his name was to start with. But like I feel like
I actually liked that because he wasn't like a Jigsaw fucking
that's what I mean. Like
he had his own story.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like you didn't have to. I mean, obviously it's a Saw movie, so you're going to relate it back, but it's not like he didn't claim to be a Jigsaw copycat.
He was just
he had his own motives.
And that's kind of what I was thinking because I really enjoyed the movie the whole time, and then I was like, oh, when you watch a Saw movie, it kind of lives and dies just by the end because you always know that it's what's going to come. So I was waiting for it to either be absolutely shit or actually pretty good. And when I saw him, I was like, oh fuck, like what, how, like why was it even him? But then the way they actually set it up, I thought was better than basically every other movie because they'd actually, like you said earlier, they had the flashbacks of him saying all the shit through the movie of what he was actually meaning and all the situations.
And it's just the way you interpret stuff.
Yeah. And all the situations he was actually in were believable that he could be there, especially with being a cop.
I wonder if we went back and rewatched it, if you would see like him in the background or see the dad's name tag, like because they do drop hints like he has a son called Charlie and then his dad's name's Charlie, but it kind of you don't see it. And then
I just thought the twist works so much better, and I mean, it's not like the greatest twist ever or anything,
But
but
it wasn't
especially
shit.
compared to the last ones, it's just fucking, it's miles ahead of it, because none
Yeah.
of them ever make sense, and they're all just like, yeah, they always get an eye roll, essentially. And this one, I actually believed why he was doing it and everything, and he had a good reason for doing it, and so yeah, I actually just really, I thought this movie was actually really good. Samuel L. Jackson not in it that much, but it wasn't really about him, though.
Yeah, exactly. He was. I feel like he was just kind of there for name power.
Yeah.
Like star power, I should say.
Yeah.
Lots of motherfuckers every time he was on screen.
Pretty much just Samuel being Samuel, but
Yeah.
that's what we love to see from him. Good music
Yeah.
still as well. The whole series always has really good music, but like the actual score of
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
main theme
Not
and
just
everything, not just
Quavo at the
21
start.
jumping
Yeah.
on. But yeah, this movie exceeded my expectations because I was hyped going in, but I did see reviews earlier today saying that it was shit, basically.
Fuck those reviews.
And I do not understand that at all, because like this is miles ahead of any other Saw movies, just from production. It's got obviously probably a bigger budget, I'd imagine.
I haven't even seen half. Like my exposure to half.
They're
of
all
the,
basically
like,
the same.
The
yeah.
newest ones is all like the Kill Count series. Obviously, I've seen like the original, like 3. But this was this was good. This was
It actually had its own story, characters with development. I loved how fast paced it was as well. Like the movie just went by so fast.
Yeah,
and,
I felt like
in
we were,
a good way.
We literally were in there for like 90 minutes.
Yeah,
Fucking
and
young Toad said.
I went by and I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Chris Rock, all the acting, really good.
And it didn't feel too fast paced either. Like it was.
It did, but like
Like it
went
didn't feel
along.
unnecessarily fast. I mean,
And then it actually did take some time for him to kind of, like, with this partner who ended up being a fucking evil cunt, but where he goes over just shit that's actually happening in his life and actually is a character as opposed to just the people in the last ones who just walk into fucking traps, basically.
yeah.
But yeah. Fuck. I'm feeling a second on this one.
That's what I was thinking as well. I enjoyed this movie.
I'm like,
And I'm not the biggest horror thriller fan either.
so I am a big Saw fan, so I would like
That
this.
gives your opinion even more value.
Yeah, because I'm actually a fan of the franchise, so I know what's good. But this was probably my second favourite, maybe just after the first one. But in a way, I kind of even like it just as much because the production was just like such a step above. Like the first movie was only made for like $1 million, so low budget.
Exactly.
But yeah, I fucking really enjoyed this one, and I'm gonna say second.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a second
I do
as
not
well.
understand what people were saying when they think this movie's trash. Thought it was really
I
good.
don't know what
And
they're like.
There's nothing I even really hated about this
That's
movie.
what I was just thinking. There wasn't like, I can't even try and like pick something out that was a bit dodgy. Like it was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that brings us to the end of our review.
That Spiral 2021.
Yeah, if you've seen the movie, let us know in the comments what you thought.
Yeah. Wonder if they'll make a sequel. I don't know. Pretty good as a standalone. Like, I'd definitely way rather rewatch this than
half of the other Saws.
No, to be fair, I would rewatch them all just because like, I'd do a series binge. But like,
Yeah,
this
okay.
is. I feel like this is actually a good movie compared to those.
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't call it like
But I
Saw
could-
9 or something.
I could easily rewatch this as a standalone movie as opposed to the series where like I feel like you pretty much have to watch them in order to know the story because it's
Yeah.
like I couldn't even imagine trying to like get the timeline in order for the fucking Saw franchise.
Yeah,
It'd
it's
just be
pretty
all
fucked.
over the place.
You'd have to like stop and start in between like half of the movies.
Yeah, it would just be the biggest mission ever. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about Spiral. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be back again with some more videos.
Sweet as.
Catch on the flip side.
Yep.
Puh.
Up.